silver bullet, quote unquote, from the mayor. Says, what we're proposing, he says in his articles in the media, is that this isn't the silver bullet. And I'm saying Steadfast is the silver bullet. We have the perspective because I live in the neighborhood. We have the experience. We have the consultancy. We even have the finances to do this. So I think we are the silver bullet. And I would love for the city to come behind us and say, I know that they have a list of 10 different developers that they go to with nonprofits. I'm not on that list. And I would love for Steadfast to be like, hey, maybe they actually know what they're talking about in the downtown east side because they live there and they know what the community's needs are. And they're not all about themselves, but they're actually trying to address a problem. So please, city, will you please come and join hands with me? And let's move this to a place together.
Yeah, I was talking with Michael Wiebe recently, and I know that he shares many of your concerns, but it sounds like it's an uphill battle at City Hall. Yeah,
I think so. I think that I will get a lot more attention. I spoke to the chief of staff and he said, do you have a development permit in yet? I said, no. He said, well, talk to me when you got a development permit in. And I'm like, okay, that's fair. So that's our next thing. We're hoping to get our first development permit in February, March. And then we can be a bit more aggressive. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's terrific.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, so what haven't we talked about that we should?
I think that the way in which Steadfast builds the model, I think, is important. So we're not just a social impact company, but we're environmental as well. And one of the things that affordable housing developers seem to be dismissing is this idea of passive home and mass timber, which is the latest technology in the construction field. And I was just talking to an affordable housing developer. I was on a call because the Tira is building family unit in the neighborhood. And I said, hey, have you guys considered this as an environmental piece? And they're like, oh, no, like that's going to cost too much. And I'm like, it's 3% more than concrete. It's 3%. And it's faster because it's built off-site. It is stronger. It is long-term cheaper because what passive home does is it removes an HVAC system. No HVAC system, no heating bill at the end of the month. So that means that the tenants are actually saving money long-term because the way that it works is the energy that we create from our bodies or turning on the stove or opening and closing our refrigerators, all of that energy actually heats our home when you have a zero airtight kind of system. And so working with mass timber and passive home should not be seen in the affordable housing industry as a luxury, but from an environmental perspective, it needs to be seen as a necessity. And so we need to change the mindset a bit around that. So one of the things that Steadfast is committed to is an environmental piece as well. And so because it's built in it's not modular, but it's built with a modular system that's built off-site and everything is computerized according to the drawings and the plans, it's cut to a millimeter precision. And because of that, it means that the amount of waste after a 10-story build can fit into one dumpster. The construction industry is known for filling our landfills with all sorts of debris that's really like, the construction industry is the worst when it comes to the landfill. But when you build with mass timber, it actually is 90% less that we put into the landfill. So from an environmental perspective, which is something that Vancouver is so concerned about, I know council is so concerned about, and Steadfast is concerned about too. We want our grandchildren, I want my grandchildren to not have to worry about the emissions that concrete puts out. And when we build with wood, an environmental place, then I think that's going to make a massive long-term difference. So when I walk by and I see these big concrete builds, both on affordable side and on the west side, I just shake my head because it's just not necessary. As developers, we need to make this as a necessity to build with mass timber instead of seeing it as a luxury.
It's a great comment. Thank you. I didn't know about that.
And then a lot of people don't. And Steadfast wants to marry technology with affordable housing. There's another company I'm going to mention called Planet Smart City. And on an international perspective, they are bringing affordable housing, community, and technology together. And they're also one of my role models for sure. I want to just share one quote by an urban planner from Chicago. He's one of my mentors. And he says, "Make no small plan. They have no magic to stir men's blood." And that's by Daniel Burham of Chicago Urban Planner. That is definitely what my vision is not to make any small plans.
I like it. I used to say, go big or go home. which
yeah,
I think
that works too.
Yeah, I think you're going big, which is terrific. I love your vision. I love what you're doing. I feel like we've caught you just at the beginning of this great growth period, which is really exciting to watch, especially as it pertains to the downtown east side. I'm optimistic and hopeful.
Thank you. We need optimism and hopefulness. We don't need pessimism, and we don't need men to make judgments against an all-female development team, which is what one of our goals are. I had a meeting with an agent yesterday, and I felt like I had to prove myself. And after leaving that meeting, I just decided I'm not gonna prove myself to men anymore. They can take me as I am and take the fact that I'm serious about my work, or they can go home, like you said.
Yeah, no, good for you.
So
I really appreciate you taking the time to talk about what you're doing. And I know it's early days, but it's really exciting.
Thank you so much, Don. Thank you so much.
We've been speaking with Cherie White, who's the president and CEO of Steadfast Developments. If you'd like to find out more, you can find them online at steadfastdevelopments.com. That's another edition of the Conversation Lab. This radio program and podcast is produced by CFRO-FM in Vancouver's downtown east side. We're on the territories of the Squamish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. Our gratitude and thanks to them, as well as to the many not-for-profit organizations, community groups, and change makers around the world that support this program. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please consider becoming a member of Co-op Radio to support this program and the many others produced by hundreds of volunteers. If you have a story to share or know someone who does, please have them contact us at coopradio.org, theconversationlab.ca, and on many social media and podcasting platforms. This episode was cobbled together with some help from Brian McKinnon, Kimit Sekon, John Massacar, and Julian Anton. Thanks, guys, and thank you for listening. I'm Don Schaefer.